Hey y'all, I'm Shauna. Welcome in or welcome back. Today we're talking 2024 goals. So we're going to be talking about some shopping, spending, how I spend my money goals. We're also going to be talking about some goals, plans, and projects for the channel. And then we're also going to be talking about personal goals. Most of the goals videos that you will see or that will appear in 2024 have already come, right? Like they'll come at the end of December, beginning of January. And that's great. It's really nice to have motivation to help you plan your own goals and kickstart your own year. However, I know that there's so many of you or us who, aren't ready or have the time on January 1st to start thinking about those things. You might need some more time to wrap up 2023. Maybe you're just busy. So the message I want to start this video off with is even if your goals are radically different from mine, we're going to talk about some channel things. Most of y'all watching don't have a YouTube channel. You don't have to set goals on January 1st. You can set goals at any time of the year. February, March, July, October, September, doesn't matter. You can change your goals at any time and start new ones at any time. Don't let the fact that it's not January 1st stop you from setting, planning, dreaming, those kinds of things. It's never too late. Even in life, whether you're 18 or 88, it's never too late to start planning and dreaming and goal setting. So we're going to talk about some channel stuff first, and then we'll go to the shopping stuff because shopping is both like personal and channel related. And so I think that'll be like a good bridge before we get into personal goals. And I know not all of y'all are interested in all of these components. So let's get started. And in terms of like channel content, I am very pleased with the balance I struck starting in about July where I, cut away most of the makeup content. And one of the things I had questioned this year was, do I bring back project panning? Because I could theoretically do a project pan and make an update every 4 months or every 3 months. Doesn't have to be a once a month kind of thing. I decided no, we're going to leave things as they are because I'm just like really satisfied with the content that I'm making on this channel. And yes, there are plans to or ideas to consider new kinds of content, but like the genre of content that I make and how I go about making it overall is really nice. So I have a handful of stuff, but nothing that like I want to track or nothing that I want to track my progress on for all of the reasons I mentioned in my makeup era is over video. I'll link that probably down below or it'll be in the cards somewhere. One thing I've also noticed since making that video is that I will gravitate towards some stuff and I'll use it for a few weeks, if not a few months. And then I'm like, okay, I'm ready to like try something new. And I'm getting to really like experience the breadth of my collection basically for the first time since coming on YouTube nearly 4 years ago. So that has been a joyful experience. And believe it or not, I have been using Modern Renaissance so much. This look is brought to you by Modern Renaissance. And there are some other stuff that I would like to pan this year or finish up. And that's not makeup related. I want to work through some of my notebooks. I also, I have like a physical planner that I bought in 2021, like in June or July 2021. I want to finish that up this year. I think there's about half, maybe like 60% left of that book. So I want to finish that up this year. A different content train. One of the most fun side projects that I had was on the 12-week year. That video did like okay at first, but has been building momentum again over the past, I don't know, probably say month. Like I think at the time it had like a few thousand views, like 1,000 or 2,000. I think it might have gone up to like 3 at one point, and now both of those videos are sitting somewhere between like 6,000 and 7,000. So there is a renewed interest in those views, in those videos at this time of year, which totally makes sense. That was a really fun side project and experiment, and that was a topic I was interested in. But I also shared my thoughts on the book and how you could implement the 12-week year in, I guess, I don't know, like a Shauna specific way. I I think about that project a lot in that video a lot, and I think it would be fun to take more books maybe like that, not as in like a book review per se, but like, could you do this thing? And so one of the examples I had in mind that I'm currently reading, which I think would be a really fun thing to talk about, is Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit. That book is like the predecessor to Atomic Habits, or should I say, it's like in the general public canon on like habit books. And I'm reading that book and I have so many thoughts. I like expected it to be better than it was. And I have I have a lot of thoughts kind of in the similar vein of the 12-week year. Like, could you use that book? How could you use it if you wanted to? Its integrations with corporate America and some of the stuff. I've actually been reading some scientific literature on concepts that he talks in the book. And that book was published in 2012. So there is, there are advances in that book, but he talks about things like willpower that, he talks about with a definitive nature that like isn't totally true and like wasn't totally true at the time, and like spends a lot of time trying to convince people that like they can willpower their way through stuff. I learned new things by researching. So I think that would be a fun video, or even other kinds of books. So if that sounds interesting to you, let me know. I might do it anyways. Because I enjoy that kind of thing. But if you like that or have a specific book that you would enjoy hearing my take on, or if you could implement it, let me know. One of the really interesting questions I ask myself every year about the channel is like, do I want to spend channel money, like money I've earned on the channel? Do I want to take money that I've earned on the channel and reinvest it into the channel for like content specific purposes? And I've asked this question and my answer has changed over the years, because I don't want to buy stuff for like the sake of review. And I also explored a question last year, didn't make it anywhere in the channel, but like, is there such thing as like an ethical review? And I've waffled a bit on this. And I think one of the a potential area this could play out would be to buy things that somebody might be inclined to buy or interested to buy in their quest to go on a no buy or change their shopping habits. An example that comes to mind would be like budgeting apps, or like physical paper budgets. And budgeting is such a crucial step, in my opinion, of changing your shopping habits. Maybe not like a day one activity, but something that folks should do eventually. And I have like very strong opinions on budgeting apps in specific, and I don't know that they would necessarily apply to everybody. Some apps are paid for, but then there's also folks who really enjoy a paper planner, and I personally might enjoy a paper budget. And even with like budgeting apps, I do have very strong opinions on budgeting apps. I don't know if I ever shared this, but I actually was a beta tester for a budgeting app. I don't know if they've released it yet, but I worked with the company earlier in 2023. It was a very interesting experience. So it doesn't have to be budgeting. There could be like workbooks or courses or things like you've seen that people will say like, yes, this is something that, has helped me on my financial journey, my paying down debt journey, or my habit change journey, my stop shopping journey. And there's this one, I got this ad for this company called Female Invest. They have a physical financial planner that they're releasing in February or like end of January, but they also have an educational platform that's geared towards women. They have this like really, I see this ad all the time about it's going to take 275 years to close the financial gender gap. And I was like, hold on, kind of hooked me in. And so they have this educational platform that's dedicated to help women learn about finances and their money. They have this bundle. It's like $70 USD. You get their financial planner, and then you also get a 1-year membership to their platform. I haven't bought it, of course, because it's, no, by January doesn't fit in anywhere, but I feel like that could be like an interesting thing to try that I would under normal circumstances not buy. And it's also like a review that I could bring. If you like this idea as well, or you have like a suggestion of like a product or something that you would maybe recommend or like would want me to try, please let me know. I've also been thinking about like the community aspect of things, and I think it would be really fun to host a no buy every quarter. So this like at the start of every quarter. So we have January, which are already doing one, and then we have April, July, and October. So there would be 3 more opportunities in 2024 for you to try a no buy month, or like for somebody to find a community to do a no buy. The thing about no buys is that like you can feel part of the community at the beginning of the year doing no buy January, but not everybody starts their no buys in January. And everybody's ready to start one in January. And also January is not the only time of year where you could glean knowledge. So I think like hosting one once a quarter would be really fun. I'm also thinking that there's like ways to create a community out of it, like creating a Discord or having like hosting a community somewhere. I'm like, I don't necessarily want a Facebook group because I don't love Facebook groups, but there are options. I don't know, maybe this is like a Patreon thing where there's like I don't necessarily want to make it paid, but I could do something like a $1 membership. Again, I don't think that a no buy should like be a paid thing. It can kind of run counter to the point of a no buy, but I'm just trying to think of like different platforms that one could belong to that you could, host a community. I would also, this is the last thought on channel stuff. I would also really love to introduce or incorporate more of y'all into this content. One thing that started back in 2021 that didn't really have legs because, a lot was going on in my personal life. I was talking to people about minimalism and their experiences with minimalism. And I think that today, I'd be more interested in hearing people's experiences with shopping, with changing their shopping habits, and with no buys. So talking about somebody who has changed their shopping habits, what did that look like for them? What did they do? Hearing more of those stories, but then also potentially talking with folks who are at the beginning of their journey and then maybe helping y'all craft a plan for tackling your own no buy. I think those could be 2 like styles of videos that would I would love to do them. They'd of course like take some work to get off the ground, but I think I would really love that. Again, let me know. And then the last 2 things are not so much like ideas or things that I like to do, but just kind of things that I would like to maintain. One of the most fun things that I started in 2023 was a weekly newsletter. Truly one of my absolute favorite things that I started last year, and it started late last year, like in October. And we've put out a weekly newsletter every week since it started, with the exception of like Black Friday week where we did a daily newsletter. One of the reasons why I like it personally is that it's short form content, but also like being on YouTube, there's a lot of pressures of monetization, which does whether I like it or not, does influence some of the choices that I make here. That newsletter is not monetized. So there's much more freedom. And then I also get to share little nuggets that I've been learning or thinking about over the course of a week. This week's newsletter that went out actually talks more specifically about the concept of willpower. I think my favorite so far that we've done there. So you can subscribe to the newsletter on my website, shanarapari.com. Also, I want to keep up the blogs. We've been doing a blog a week again since October, and I'm thinking one every other week for the foreseeable future, unless there's a topic that I'm just y'all, we gotta get on this now. You can also check out the blog, that same link. It's also in the description. You can go click on it and go take a look. All right, let's not talk about the shopping life, because that's always a question I get every year is what kind of budget are you going to have? Or how do you want to go about buying things? Or how did that go for you in 2023? And in terms of budget and shopping and all of that. My main goal for 2023 was to stop that emotional shopping habit. And I have shared in a couple of videos, we did not do any emotional shopping in 2023. I'm getting like 2023 and 24 mixed up a bit. What year are we in? I didn't do any, which I'm so proud of. And there were a handful of impulse buys, but we're talking like very few, less than 5 over the entire year. So over the course of 2023, I brought in, I'm looking at my numbers here, a total of 23 fashion items. So I bought 4 pairs of shoes, 5 t-shirts, 3 sweatshirts, 1 sweatpant, 2 pairs of pants, like not jeans, just like other kinds of pants, 2 jeans, 2 bodysuits, a jacket, and like I think it's a bolero, or we could just call it like a mini cardigan. 2 of those items were bought on gift cards. 8 of those items were direct 1-for-1 replacements. And 100% of the items I went looking for. So I went, okay, I am in need of a t-shirt. Let me go and find a t-shirt now. Every single thing I purchased this year, I went specifically to a website to go buy that thing or like a similar thing, and I bought it. Oh yes, and there's also 2 dresses in that 23 number that were bought for special events. 4 of those items were special event items, and all of them were bought with the intention of repurposing and re-wearing. Most of the stuff was bought for like 2 events between like May and June. And so that, you're talking like 6-7 months ago. And, with some hindsight, I can still say that this stuff is stuff that is rewearable, reusable. And I love that. And you can't always foresee like having to buy like a special occasion item. So I don't feel bad about those purchases, especially because like the styles and the colors and things that I chose were for longevity. And overall as well, I made 1 purchase on Poshmark, and I did share it in my best purchases of the year. I'm going to link my I spent $700 on Poshmark video that I made earlier this year. I'm going to link that in the description or in the card somewhere. It's incredible to see the progress between 2022 and 23 and just how drastically like one change can like have a huge impact. So for beauty, I bought a total of 13 makeup items this year. 8 of the 13 were direct 1-for-1 replacements. Might be able to consider 9. I'll let you know as we go through. But like 8 or 9 out of the 13 direct, like something has finished. I'm buying this to replace this thing. So I purchased 3 foundations, 1 concealer, 2 eyeliners, 1 lip mask. I'm using it as like a chapstick kind of thing. 1 powder, 2 lip glosses, 1 eyebrow product. I bought 4 mascaras, 2 of them are backups, and then 3 backup products from e.l.f. Backups, 1 chapstick, and 2 powders. So with the eyeliner, I bought 1 eyeliner as a replacement. It was horrible. And so I bought a different one to replace that. That's why I was saying like 8 or 9. This is 13 makeup products, and skincare went very much the same way. Finished an item, replaced it. Finished an item, replaced it. My buying habits for beauty across the board, in my opinion, are like 10 out of 10. I also used a lot of gift cards for these items. I also used a gift card from earlier this year to buy a skincare product. And so my beauty buying habits, in my opinion, are like 10 out of 10. Everything is a replacement, like literally everything, skincare. And then majority of my makeup falls in that category. And all the stuff that isn't a replacement is like a backup of something that I'm about to finish up. So it's all stuff that I'm actually using. I'm not trying to imply that if you have makeup products or you buy makeup products that you don't totally use up to completion, or like you buy a makeup product for fun that your makeup is like not good or you're not buying in a good enough way. No, I didn't buy any blush this year. I didn't buy any eyeshadow products this year because I don't need any more. I don't want any more. Buying those things is not fulfilling, and I have enough makeup. I am completely satisfied with my makeup life and how I'm purchasing. I just want to continue. That's the goal for 2024. I want to continue these really great habits that I have implemented. They're now at this state where I'm like, yes, I am happy. I love it. Let's continue. This also brings up the question of budget. Like, how much money do I want to dedicate towards these things in 2024? What I would like to do is really keep it similar to this year. So because I did buy some replacements, like I still have 2 backup mascaras and I have 2 backup powders, and I also have 2 powders going. They're in different shades, so I won't be able to use the darker one for some time. But like, it is conceivable that I don't buy any more powders this year. I will need mascara at some point, but not, anytime soon. I also don't, intend on buying any more blush or bronzer, highlighter, eyeshadow this year. I probably need an eyeliner at some point. I also will definitely need a foundation and potentially a concealer. So I think having a budget of around $200 is where I would like to be. And then also having a separate budget of about $200 for skincare. I do think that my anticipation is that I'm going to use up the skincare budget and it's going to eat into the makeup budget, which is totally fine by me. I have one skincare product that is about $50 that I replace about once a year. So that will probably be replaced around the same time that I bought it last year. I'm going to need to replace cleansers and moisturizers, but it doesn't happen a lot. And I've also found great staples that are around $20-ish each for the cleansers and the moisturizers. And my CeraVe cleanser lasts me a whole year. The thing about makeup is I don't enjoy buying it in the way that I used to. So I just don't want that time and energy or money really spent on these categories. And because I don't overbuy in these areas anymore, they're not a real issue. With something I'm going to give you an example. Something like clothing, it's still possible for me to overspend on something. But with this, it's all right, I'm doing 1-for-1 replacements. The only way to overspend in this category would really be if I had to make one more replacement of something that I anticipated. I calculated 4 replacements of my moisturizer when actually I need to, have a 5th. Whereas with clothes, it's still possible, right? To be you know what, that top is cute. I'm going to throw that into the cart. There wasn't really that happening in 2023, but it's still a possibility. And also there is events that can happen. There's stuff that can happen with clothing wise that doesn't happen with beauty. So in terms of clothes and the way that I was shopping, my budget is around $600 to $800. It's kind of more of a flex budget. Here's the thing, 2024 is most likely going to be a flex year. In that, I don't anticipate my financial life being the same in December 2024 as it is right now. And by my financial life, I mean my partner's and I's financial life. Things should be different in December than they are in January. There's lots of reasons that account for that, but I can't assume that money is going to look a certain way in December because while plans are nice, I can't with a shadow of a doubt 100% say that these things are absolutely going to happen. So if those things happen, a budget of $800 or $900 is something that I can financially afford. But because I can't assume that's going to happen, a budget of $600 is going to be where we're gonna be, if that makes sense. So barring a change in finances, the budget is $600. with the change in finances, the budget is more 900. Yeah, so I think it'll be interesting. And I think the last thing to consider budget-wise would be beauty treatments, things like haircuts, hair colors, and also like if you do your nails or you get other kinds of like services done, like some women will get their eyelashes done, or sometimes folks can like get spray tans or like facials or things like that. I'm not planning on most of those things. Also, here's something fun. In 2023, I bought some scissors and I gave myself a haircut. I never told anybody on YouTube, but in my personal life, it was, I was telling everybody about it. I was so excited. So one of my personal goals for 2024 is to cut my own hair and like to learn how to do that. So I'm not planning on getting any haircuts this year, and I'm really hoping that I don't botch my hair. Cutting my hair was fun and all. I had my moment. It was cute, but like we're growing out my hair again. So I'm going to do like little trims and that'll be that. And then I'm giving myself budget for one hair color. I don't know if I'll use it or if I do like late in the year, like August, September, that kind of thing. Now into more personal goals. I want to complete my 1 line a day journal, or like not complete it, like work on it every day this year. I'm now, since we're at the beginning of the year and I started last year, I now get to read my entries from last year, which is giving extra motivation and is also helping to fuel that habit. So I'm very excited to work on another year of that. I also want to complete my gratitude journal, as in like, I want to like be able to finish it. It has like entries on each page with guided prompts, and I'm about halfway through. And so I want to like close it out, finish it this year. I also want to be consistent with my planner. I talked about, I think in this video, wanting to close out that planner this year and, you know, be able to like finish it, complete it, and then, you know, probably get a new one at some point, if not this year, next year. I don't want to do that for the sake of, you know, finishing up a product, but being intentional with my time is so important with me, especially, or to me, especially over the experience of last year, where like time can really, we can have time direct our lives. It's so easy to fall into routines and habits where you're not thinking about the choices that you're making, and you spend time, like all of your time, doing stuff that isn't like fulfilling or rewarding or like important to you. I got into moments of that last year, and if I want to accomplish goals, even if it's something totally personal, like reading 70 books or reading a certain number of books, like you are still going to have to make time and space for that. In 2023, I really explored like what an intentional life means for me. And I can't experience an intentional life without being intentional, without choosing where my time, attention, and energy goes. And you can't do that without doing it. And a planner kind of helps that. And so all of these things, like these 3 kind of more paper things, they add this like pep, like to my life. There was a moment last week where I was just feeling kind of down. And so I deliberately went to my gratitude journal and I filled out their 5 prompts. And I truly noticed that incline in my mood. It did just give me that little like, oh, it didn't, you know, completely shake me out of that low, bad mood, but it improved it, which gave me that like little kick to do other things to improve my mood. And by the end of the day, I was like laughing and smiling and having a good one. These are like tools at my disposal that I love to use to help, like truly help make days good days and start days off on a good note. I do want to read 70 books this year. Last year I read 69, and the year before that I read 68. I didn't think I would read 69 books last year because the first 2 months of the year were horrible, like truly horrible, and I read in true waves. I'll read nothing for weeks, and then I'll read like 15 books in a month, 20 books in a month. Both of those things had happened last year. I was really bothered by that kind of like a reading life that looks like this. I'm less bothered by that now, and there's like ways to lean into that. And there's so many good books that are being released this year that I'm so excited about. And I don't there this is the first year of my reading life period where I've consciously been aware of new releases and anticipating them. A little bit happened at the end of 2023, but not like truly not much. This year there's like 3 or 4 books that I'm like, yes, I'm so excited for them to release. First of which is Crescent City, which is like I've been trying not to think about it because of the way that the second book ended, and it's coming up in like 2 weeks. So okay. So those things have been propelling my reading life and making it really satisfying. And then one thing I've been doing about 4 mornings a week is reading a book that I consider motivating or inspiring to me, which like can be nonfiction. I'm reading Rachel Rogers' We Shall Be Millionaires. And this is also a practice that I've learned like helps create a good momentum for the day. Like if I read something that's inspiring to me, it helps foster a good mood. And we're talking like 20 minutes in the morning here. So all these habits are ones that I want to, continue throughout the year. The very last goal for the year is one that I'm actually maybe the most excited about. And that is to run 200 kilometers this year. In the like summer, fall running months, so between roughly May and October, I ran 100 kilometers. So in like a 6-month period, I ran 100 kilometers. And so I also think it's feasible to run 100 kilometers in the other 6 months of the year. Y'all, I'm just so fired up about this. I don't know how much I ran indoors last year, like if it was 80 kilometers or 50 or 150. I'm genuinely not sure. I do run most weeks. And so I've kind of set this, made a whole plan about this. I want to run 15 kilometers a month for the first 3 months of the year. So that gets me to 45 kilometers. And then in the last 4 months of the year, run 45 kilometers, or last 3 months. So that's 90 kilometers, which means in that roughly 6-month running season I want to run 110 kilometers. Now, last year I started in May and I ran until I think my last run this year was like October 1st, something like that, maybe like September 30th. But one thing I wanted to do like this winter, roughly like November, December, I was like so hooked on running. I was like, I want to run outside. And then, it got like really cold and I was like, ooh, maybe not. And it's also been very wet as well. So I'm like, you know what? I have the motivation where like I could start my running time sooner than like mid-May or end of May. And so if I started in, let's say April, like end of April, like April 15th to 30th, if I start running there, that's nearly a whole additional month of outdoor running. And the outdoor running season, I run way more variety of lengths than indoor. Indoor is like 40 minutes, with the warm up in that. And I run like very predictably 5 kilometers indoors or outside. I can run anywhere from 4 kilometers to 10. So there's going to be, some like challenges and goals in there. Like I definitely want to do another 10K this summer. But this goal, like it makes me so excited for each week. Last year I didn't have goals in any of the fitness categories. I did have like some running goals, like once I got started in this summer, spring, summer, like I wanted to run a 10K or like I wanted to increase pace or do those kinds of things. Moving my body is an important part of my life, but also like physical and mental health. I could be like reaping the benefits of that all year instead of just having some goals for some of the year. And this isn't necessarily about like maximizing efficiency kind of thing, but it's just like, what if you could make working out Like, what if you could enjoy that more? What if that could be more fulfilling? That's kind of the mentality that I'm thinking this through. So, those are all of my like goals and thoughts for the year. I keep hitting my tree. I need to take it down. Those are my goals and thoughts for the year. I do have like other things I want to accomplish and do and see, and we could probably be here for another hour talking about everything. But those are the ones that apply to this channel and ones I want to share today. And I would love to hear yours in the comments. Let me know your shopping goals, your budgeting goals, and even your personal goals. I would love to hear them in the comments. Thanks so much for watching and hanging out, and I hope to see you again around here soon. Bye.